How to build trust as a leader. It's important. When we can live life on our terms, on a holistic level, taking into account not just our business lives, but also our health, all of our relationships, from friends, family, to our partners, the world changes. All right, so I've worked with leadership teams and organizations, people all over the world for over 30 years. And one of the core foundational pieces you have to have is trust. And as a senior leader, as the owner, the visionary, the CEO, whatever you want to call it, you need to be able to build trust. And you need to model this so that each of the members of your leadership team can do the same thing with their teams. So we're going to go through, and we've got 6 steps that specifically help you build trust. All right, first and foremost, it's really silly, but very, very important, is a simplified but very, very clear vision of where you're going. As the senior leader, it's one of the most important pieces because you're building a team around you that you're going to motivate and inspire, but to do that well, they have to have a clear understanding of where are we going. What will success look like when we get there? And how are we starting to do that? But starting clarifying with that vision. Again, it seems very silly, but it's something that a lot of people miss. And it's worth it to really invest the time and energy to come up with a simple version of this. An example, and I've talked about this in some of the other videos on this channel, is whether you love him or hate him, Elon Musk for SpaceX, when you walk in, the fact that you've got 2 versions of Mars. Mars today, uninhabited, and Mars as he envisions it in the future. Without even putting a word up there, that gives everybody clear understanding of why are we showing up. That in and of itself helps people understand, okay, this leader knows where they're going. Maybe I'm not sure how we know how we're getting there, but they at least have a vision of knowing where we're going. So that's the first thing. The second thing is making sure that you're crystal clear on the expectations of your team. Now, how does this matter for trust? Well, if I don't know what I'm supposed to do, if you're making me guess, if it feels like I'm bouncing all over the place, then how on earth am I ever going to know if I'm going to be successful? If it feels like the expectations are always bouncing and moving, I don't know when if I've done my job. Therefore, it's very dynamic and it has the ability to make things very uncomfortable, and it certainly doesn't build trust. But when we're clear on where we're going, that helps. Second, when I know exactly how I'm accountable for doing that, and you start to believe that I can do it, because that's the other piece, is that as a senior leader, it's easy for you to trust somebody when you have amazing people and they're very clear on where they're going and what success looks like for them. There isn't that ambiguity. It's in the gray area, in that ambiguity, that we start to dilute trust. The third piece is making sure that you're consistent with the accountability, that you hold everybody, including yourself, that you model that behavior, but that you're ultra consistent. If you kind of hold people accountable, or maybe you hold these people accountable, but those people, or if you sometimes do it, it's not consistent. Versus if you are ultra consistent, it's just like raising kids. If you're ultra consistent, if you catch kids saying, yeah, this is your first time, if I catch you smoking again, you're going to catch hell. Well, they're going to do it again. But it's like, no, we're not allowing this again, ever. But it's how do you hold people accountable? How do you hold them consistently accountable so that they know they're going to be held accountable every time? It makes it easier. All right, the fourth thing is making sure that you're present with people. Look into their soul and genuinely be there. Make sure that you are validating that they're there, but it's also going to say, wow, this guy's listening. This gal is listening to me. This person cares. They value what I'm saying. And be curious. If they come up and they want to challenge you, fantastic. That's a huge step in building trust. But if they come up and say, I don't understand this, instead of getting upset that they're not being very bright, likely you didn't explain it well. So if you can be curious, okay, you're looking at this different, rather than defending it, be curious, be present, listen to understand, not listen to be right. And then be curious, ask questions, help question and see where they're going. Help me understand this, why are we going there? But that way it starts to create more of a dialogue and you're building that foundation. The next step is making sure that you model the behavior. make sure you're modeling the behaviors you're looking for. If you really value consistency but you aren't consistent, that's not going to work. If you value showing up on time, but you kind of show up whenever you want because you're the boss, it's not going to work. You're going to dilute trust. But if you hold everybody accountable, including yourself, and you show up and you model those behaviors, if you do what you say you're going to do, that's going to help. Now, this also applies for vulnerability. If you fail, I didn't get it done, and here's why, and I need your help. But asking for people, asking for that help, having that vulnerability has value. It establishes that you can then expect that and create that with others. But you're also going to have to make sure that the rest of the team starts modeling and holding each other accountable as well. But this way, everybody's contributing, everybody's coming together, everybody's holding each other accountable. And the last piece, and this one it's not that hard, but it's something that we so often forget, is because most leaders, particularly in entrepreneurial organizations, they've done everything to get to where they are. They can do everything. They're chief cook, bottle washer, whole 9 yards. They can do everything, but one of the things that they need to transition out of is to stop being everything. And how can you start becoming the champion to make sure that your team is becoming as great as they can be so that they can handle it, they can do it, and ideally they end up doing it better. So the last step is, how can you start to become the champion to empower everybody on your team to become amazing? Now, I'm not saying empower them to fail. I'm not saying accept failure or even less than great. But how can you help elevate and motivate them to that top level? When you do these steps, you're truly going to begin to build trust. And those steps are: create and refine that clarity of vision, making sure that everybody knows where we're going. What does success look like? And how are they going to improve that? Verify and create those clarity and expectations. This is how you're contributing to it. This is how you know each week if you won. And here's how we're going to hold each other accountable. Consistent and accountable. I can't emphasize how important that is. If everybody knows it, the people who aren't the right fit, the people who don't like that, candidly, you're going to chase them away, and that's fine. But what you're going to do is you're going to empower the right people to step out and the wrong people to step out. When you do that, you're going to start to build more and more trust. When you hold everyone equally accountable, then everybody's going to start to hold each other accountable. The next thing is be curious. Be curious when you can be there, and be present. How can you help understand and empower people to start thinking of things differently? And you can model that behavior. As you model those behaviors, it can be vulnerability, it can be consistency, it can be curiosity, it can be empowering others. But what are the behaviors you want to drive to ensure that you build your team? When you do this well, it'll empower and build your team as well. And then lastly, how can you become their champion? When you can become their champion, man, and people see that and they buy into the vision of where you're going, the trust levels will go through the roof. So these are the ways that you build trust as a leader. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out at lifeon-yourterms.com. And we have a whole bunch of different tools and assessments there. But like I say, if you have questions, please leave a note or subscribe. Have fun. Keep smiling.